Good afternoon. Is it right? Yeah, God in heaven, thank you for this new day in our life. Thank you because we gathered this afternoon to look at events of the world, just for clarity of the information. No, the information is a lot, but this is the only way that get to be saved. Understand events for you and know how to make whatever person. You ask that may the Holy Spirit guide and teach us and lead us, just in Jesus' name. So I've been handling the King of the North and religion. And so far, we have studied more on the King of the North compared to religion part of it. We need to get this relationship between the King of the North and the religion. How does religion look like here at the end of the world? Remember, I said when I began my class, this is my third presentation, I said that for us to understand how the end of the history of the world looks like, we have to go to the beginning of the history of the world. We went to Alpha history of the King of the North according to Daniel. Daniel begins his prophecies with Babylon as the first kingdom of the prophecy. But if you go outside the book of Daniel, elsewhere, you realize that Assyria existed before Babylon, and it interacted with God's people. It is the one which takes Manasseh captive in 677 BC. So, I'm not intending to repeat. Oh, yes, please, kindly. All of us, put vibration mode, kindly. Do it. Put it. If I looking at me. Snyder said that it's that sound. So let's do that. So today, I want us to understand more what relates to us, because we have dwelt so much to what it meant for the rise of Babylon as a nation. And I know we are in this history. There somewhere here. And say that we are increase of knowledge because yet we don't have a way map and we are not at formalization. But one thing we understand, we are in the Sunday law history and not at the Sunday law. We are in the Sunday law history, and remember we are in the latter rain. Ellen White in Acts of Apostles 36, she says that the latter rain is a clarity of the early rain. So this dispensation, this is the dispensation of the early rain, and this rain gives clarity of what the early rain was. That is why when you are in a dispensation, this is how it should be. This is Boston, Concord, Exeter, the same repeats in every dispensation. This 2016 is not increase of knowledge, it's not formalization. It's a point I indicated there, make a point. So, like, this is 2021, we have Boston, we have Concord, we have Exeter, and between this waymark 2021 and 2024, we have the two waymarks in between them, and we have our increase of knowledge jobs. This is increase of knowledge job for the Jackson Women's Health which remarks overturning of Roe v. Wade in 2022. So, when we are in this dispensation, what we are required to do is that increase of knowledge to look back for these events. We move to the waymark of Exeter, which is formalization. Usually we understand that Exeter is this waymark, which gives us time. It is connected with time element when the event is about to happen. So when you come to May 30th, when Trump is convicted, we look forward, and that points us to what we expect to see from whatever event that happens at Exeter Waymark. So increase of knowledge is a point where we look behind and understand the events more. But Exeter is a point where we look forward because it is connected with the element of time, and it gives time when an event occurs. So, when we were looking in the line of Babylon, we realized the other time I was putting these blue waymarks before this. Look up the black waymarks, our waymarks which we are experiencing. So, in 614, in the kingdom of Babylon, we mark the myths. The myths, they conspire with Babylonians and they want to bring down Assyria as the established kingdom. So, in our history, which is 2014, if we have institutions, we are required, therefore, to begin looking at how institutions, they are going to place the king of the north in power, which is the seventh kingdom. And among those events which have been mentioned in this class several, I'm not intending to include them. One of the institutions is SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States. The way it interprets the Constitution matters, because at one point, they understand the Constitution in the language that it was originally written. But on the other hand, they will disagree with what they had ruled initially. So you realize that the Supreme Court begins to embrace this ideology of libertarianism. So in 2014, with this case of Obilobi, Baldwin versus Obilobi, we see SCOTUS, this is an institution. I understand that word institution when Elder Tess was doing the midnight prayer presentation, she was looking at institution from these two perspectives. So to define institution, as SCDA and USA. But currently, our understanding of institution, I'm not saying we do away with what the test did, but we have more clarity on the definition of what institution means like. And maybe to bring in the language we can understand, we can outline some of the institutions or how we have understood. I think Camila uses the language of the 7 mountains. So we're going to use the 7 mountains to try and define what institution looks like here at the end of the world. Because if we go with these ones, in one parable, they make sense. In another parable, they don't make sense. Like in this parable, if I take the entire definition of institution to refer to USA, it is going to violate some of William Miller's rules, because we will have inconsistency. Because this line, if you look at it, even when if someone was challenging the other day that someone can go elsewhere and come up with events and dates and put them and bring all those sorts of stories and come up with a line like this. I think methodology will bar you from doing that. William Miller rules and parables will kick you out. So the way we use institutions and apply them and get their meaning correctly here at the end of the world, the 7 mountains, this is what is being attacked by the king of the north, or the 7th kingdom. And one of them is what? You know, I mentioned.
Education.
Religion. Funding.
Religion.
Religion.
Media.
No, you give one. You don't give everything. Give other people chance to speak. What's it? Media. Yes. Yes. Etabo. Economy. No, you'll not give 2. Seven.
Religion.
Religion is here.
Yeah.
Who is that? Yes, family. Only 2. This side you are too quiet. Wake up. Pascal. Government. Last one.
Entertainment.
Entertainment. Sorry? Someone speaking? That is entertainment. So, when we begin defining institution in this direction, we get to understand these words we are using: the establishment, the 7th kingdom, destroying democracy. What does it look like when we say that the 7th kingdom, or the king of the north, is destroying democracy? If you look at the politics of the US right now, there's tension, especially between this thing called economy. And this is one of the things that will bring down the 7th kingdom at this point. So we're trying to use, get me correct, please. I've included here in this dispensation. I said we still don't have a waymark here as our increase of knowledge. We don't have a waymark here. We don't have a waymark here. But from this dispensation and from the fall of Babylon, Rome will give us light, more light to what the real fall of the 7th kingdom looks like, the fall of the dragon. If we get to understand how Babylon fell, therefore, we are going to have some information, some light to what it means that the 7th kingdom will come to its end. So when we define institution, this is what we refer to, and not the entire USA, but the institutions. I don't know which word to use instead of institution, but just get it. The institutions. These are the institutions that the 7th kingdom wants to dismantle. When you come to media, this okay, I know they have freedom, but you'll begin to see which word to use, correct word to use. limitations, control, yes, something like that. Religion, we are speaking about MAGA, and I think I'll have time to speak more about MAGA. And what impresses me when Elder Jenny is teaching, she's taking us back to the information we had, and this is what she said. And this is what we're going to do, all of us. Let's go back with the symbols we had and make proper applications. So if we go back and make proper applications, we can't get it wrong when it comes to these issues. I know the interactions I'm having with you, they are very, very helpful, and I like them. So they give me a lot of information to go and find more what these things really means in real life, not like a fiction or a myth. They want to understand it. Real events here at the end of the world. How do they look like? We were imagining, I think the other time Dr. Paminda did a study and showed even the way we understand heaven. I don't know whether still we understand it the same way we used to understand some sort of myths. Paminda, you remember? Yes. So this study is there to help us understand how events will turn out, especially when the king of the seventh kingdom, the king of the north falls, and the Emma in the morning she showed us that when that kingdom goes down, God's kingdom is being established. And so we will understand even what this means, loss of probation. I know we have discrepancies, but we are not in darkness. So in 2014, what have I said? We have institutions. And among that institution, which seems to be attacked, especially the Scotters has got 6 conservative judges. And that has got an implication. Any case that goes to the Supreme Court, the way it will be decided depends, because the majority is too conservative. What do you expect, especially for something like abortion? Struck down. So we see the needs, we see institutions. I want us to read this story. These are the institutions which help bring the king of the north to power. And these are the institutions which will bring the king of the north down. They are the one which brings the seventh kingdom, the dragon, to power. And the same institutions we saw from Jeremiah. We're going to see from Isaiah that the same institutions which brought the rise of Babylon as the king of the north and conquered Assyria are the same people, the myths that will bring down Babylon. So what do we expect here at the end of the world? Whoever puts the dragon, Trumpism, to power is the same person, the same entity will do what? Trump him down. We don't expect a miracle to happen. We see a thunderstorm and then we say that Trump is going to be removed from power. So in 2014, we also marked Manosphere. Brian tackled this. People have got enough information when we come to Stephen Miller, Jeff Sessions, and Stephen Bannon. Stephen Bannon wants to change the world, but it doesn't have that power. They need someone, they need a vehicle for them to drive their ideologies. And this is the cause and the effect is what we are seeing in this history. The issues of immigration, the issues of tariffs, those issues we have said there that are being attacked. This is the work of these 3 men. So in 2016, Steve Bannon fights for replacement of, or fights for established Republican representatives and wants to have this thing before the something like when you have already established government, you don't want it, you want to bring your own government and set it in place. So we're going to read an article. Today we will do a lot of reading. I want us to see Manosphere from 2014, how it looks like, and that article is going to define what religion, which is equal to MAGA, here at the end of the world, and we know when you go to Revelation 13, that beast seems to look like a single entity, but prophecy directs us that it is not a single entity as we think. That beast is state and what? Church. So the beast is church connected to state. So the beast, in the language of 2024 onwards, the beast, we have MAGA plus New Republican Party, or Trumpism. This is what our beast looks like. In the 1260 history, from 538 to 1798, we have the beast, which is the Catholic Church and European kings. This is Catholic Church and European kings. But in our history, if this is the principle that we should understand. This beast, in the 1260 history, it is the Catholic Church and the European kings. So if the state entity changes, what we expect with the church entity, should it remain the same? It should change. So if the state changes, therefore, the church entity does what? Changes as well. So in our history, we will not be dealing with the Catholic Church as a single entity. I know it is within MAGA, but we are going to use this umbrella term MAGA because MAGA is everything, and connect it with the New Republican Church Party, which is Trumpism.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I thought that MAGA is a motto. The motto Trumpism uses, maybe Trump uses to embrace them and support them.
Who rides on the other? Is it the state riding on the church or the church riding on the state? It is not the state riding on the church, but it is the church. So MAGA is the church for the language that we can understand. In our history, MAGA becomes the church. So it is the church that is riding on a beast. And the beast is Trumpism, which is the dragon, which is the New Republican Party. I hope you get it. You have missed a lot. So, I said we are going to read an article, and it's a very interesting article. It is called, there is a book by this person, Catherine Stewart. Catherine Stewart is a journalist and writes this book by the name Money, Lies, and God. She's going to look at events that surround Trumpism, and she has written good books, and there is another one she wrote in, I don't know if it's by God's providence, because when in 2016, when Donald Trump is rising to power, she's going to bring out another book which points the Christian nationalists. So in her book, Money, Lies, and God, this is how she's going to say. She's going to find a group of people somewhere, and she's going to request them if she can get a photo. There's a man in a t-shirt, and there are women. Actually, those people are in t-shirts. And so the man in a t-shirt, his t-shirt was branded this way. It reads, "The man in the MAGA cap and the size matters t-shirt allowed me to take his picture. The size in question had to do with bullets represented on the shirt in a line from pistol bazooka grade. Not far from us stood a man in a t-shirt that read." So she's going to see a man in a t-shirt, and that t-shirt was written "Men, men, men again." So this man is in a t-shirt that reads "Men, men, men." And in fact, it is written, let me quote exactly the way it is written. So the capital letters, men, 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 okay. The man in the t-shirt that is written men, men, men again. What do you think that t-shirt reads like this? Sorry? Yes, Brad.
Because I would say before they would write that, they have had this perception that feminism is taking their space and it's depriving them of the title of being men and occupying the spaces. So maybe they will see this as an opportunity to reinstate their position as men.
Yes, manpower. They want to, we are speaking about manosphere. It is man and what? Sphere. They want to retain that. So it is not only men, that is why we say that the fight against feminism is not only from the far right trinity, which is men's rights, libertarianism, atheism, or not from the men's perspective alone, but women also, they take part in the fight against what? Feminism. And so women walked past in red, white, and blue outfits. Men had Bible verses, Bible numbers, or slogans on their t-shirts, though quite a few spotted images of guns, some of which were aimed at rhinos. At a booth nearby, a group of women was raising money for the patriots of January 6th. So these women, what they are doing, they are raising money for the patriots of January 6th. We know what happened in January 6, 2021, the storming of the US Capitol. And these women, they view that the attackers, they are who?
Heroes.
They are heroes, they are patriots. Patriots, who is a patriot? Who is a patriot? Someone who loves his own country. And so if you love your own country, you do what? You make Trump come to power by what? By force. Get that. And I'm sorry, I forgot to mention the this is a book, but they're going to make an article out of this book, and that article is titled a movement to destroy US democracy, control the presidency, Congress, and sorry. Movement, it is titled, a movement to destroy US democracy, control the presidency, Congress, and the Supreme Court. But what's behind it? So it is titled, a movement to destroy US democracy, controls the presidency, Congress, and the Supreme Court. What does this Supreme Court? So, from the book of Catherine Stewart, Money, Lies, and God, this article is taken from her writings, which reads, a movement to destroy US democracy, controls the presidency, Congress, and the Supreme Court. So, she's going to define MAGA, and I like the definition. Let me read. Anxiety about traditional gender roles and hierarchies is the rocket fuel to the new American authoritarianism. Among the bearded young men of the new right, it shows up in social media, streets bursting with rank misogyny. In the theocratic wing of the movement, it puts on the tattered ropes of patriarchy with calls for male headship. Men, again. It further reads, and female subordination, and relentlessly demonizes LGBT people. On the political stage, it has centered around the long-running effort to strip women of their reproductive health rights. Where is that? In the 7th Mountain family, it is, I think it should be health. I don't know what is replaced by health, but just get that point. So, it deprives women of their reproductive rights and in essence, make their bodies the property of the state. So the bodies of the women, they become the properties of what? The state. It is the state which has control over women's body. It is the state which decides what to do with women. And there was an article that it was reading that she was presenting, and after overturning of Roe v. Wade, I don't know what the title was, but it was saying that anybody, anyone can sue you, can sue anyone who does what? What is dogs? It is abortion. Dogs is abortion. Roe v. Wade, it deals with what? Abortion. So when they struck this down, they came up with this libertarian idea that this is the libertarian ideology. Libertarianism says that I will disagree with what you say, but I will defend the right for you to say what you do, what you want to say. So when this case was decided, I don't know how that article began, but one thing I got is that anyone can sue you. She continues to say that no longer casting the United States as a beacon of freedom, it exports this counter-revolutionary creed through alliances with leaders and activists who are themselves hostile to democracy. So when it says that America stops being the beacon of what? The beacon of freedom, in 1798, when the US rises, it rises as a lamb. And this is one of the characteristics of the lamb. It was an asylum. It was a beacon of hope. It was spiritual Israel. In spiritual Israel, what people had is freedom, and they had equality. When the two ideologies conflict, when we are in the lamb phase, what is required from a person? You choose equality over what? Freedom. But it is the opposite. So she's going to describe what MAGA is. The anti-democratic movement isn't the province of any single demographic or even ideology. So Catherine is going to tell us that MAGA is not a single word, ideology. The real story of the authoritarian right features a rowdy mix of personalities, often working at odds with one another. What does Ellen White tell us? The beast, the dragon, and the false prophet, they are not united, but they have come together to close what? The gas. So MAGA is not itself united, but they have come together to do what? To ride these beasts, to bring religion above what? The state. So she's going to say what MAGA looks like, often working at odds with one another. So MAGA is one, apostles of Jesus. Two, atheistic billionaires. Atheistic billionaires, reactionary Catholic theologians. Women hating opponents of democracy. Democracy means these women who want to rise to power. So these women who are hating these women are those women Sabina was teaching us. In fact, it is related to what she was teaching. The women hating opponents of democracy, and democracy is these women who want to rise to power. When other women want to rise to power, other women in the other side are doing what? They are pulling them down. Why? High-powered evangelical networkers. High-powered evangelical networkers, Jewish deportees of Ayn Rand. People should go and look for the ideologies of Ayn Rand. Has got some funny ideologies. Jewish devotees of Ayn Rand. Pronatalists. Pronatalists. Prenatalists preoccupied with dear white babies, COVID, truthers. Truthers. And battalions of spiritual warriors. Battalions of spiritual warriors who appear to be inventing a new style of religion, even as they said about to undermine democracy at its foundation. So, what is MAGA doing? Did you get the last part? Did you? You respond, please. If you get, I continue. If you didn't, I repeat. There is no problem. So, he's saying that the democratic movement isn't the province of any single demographic or even ideology. The real story of the authoritarian right features a road mix of personalities, even working at odds with one another, apostles of Jesus, atheistic billionaires, reactionary Catholic theologians, women-hating opponents of the democracy, high-powered evangelical networkers, Jewish devotees of Ayn Rand, pronatalists preoccupied with death of white babies, COVID truthers, and battalions of spiritual warriors who, get that, who appear to be inventing a new style of religion. So MAGA is what? New style of religion. Do we agree that the beast has changed and the religion has changed? Okay. Yes. So MAGA is a new style of religion. So this should open our understanding, and we know that in Revelation 13, we're speaking about the beast, the church, and the state in relation to the Catholic Church and the Christian. I think we should begin rethinking anew from today that here at the end of the world, we should not expect to see the Catholic Church standing and doing all those stuffs that happened in the 1260 here at the end of the world. We have a new religion, which is what? Broad mix of ideologies from the 8 elements that we have mentioned. This is how MAGA looks like. So this is religion here at the end of the world. So when we go to Revelation 17, I think we should begin thinking anew. That is why the theory tells us that we take the symbols, go back to the symbols, understand how we have used them, but make what? Correct? Where was I? In 2019, we marked the degrees. That lot of information. I'm not dealing with Babylon now. I'm dealing in the dispensation which, yes, sir.
I don't know if you have show that market form of religion. Because for your purposes, You are taking us to the book by page 2,
Yes,
and she describes it as a religion.
I'll give it. We will read the Bible and I'll show you that there is MAGA in the Bible in our current understanding. So, 2019, I said we have degrees. When we go back to Genesis, we have Hidegel, we have Hidegel and Ulai. And so we had information. It is false information which keeps Trump going. 2019, we had the first impeachment, and he was not removed. He was impeached, but he was not removed from office because of what? Misinformation from the Republican Party. 2021, 2024 is a special dispensation because it's our increase of knowledge and our formalization in regard to Sunday law, July 18th, July 18, 2024. So we're going to see, I said that it is an institution which brings the king of the north, the seventh kingdom, the dragon, to power. We want to see, this is one testimony that the Supreme Court is employing libertarian ideology to decide cases. So we have dogs. This is Roe versus Wade overturned. We have hush money, Trump immunity. So we're going to do compare and contrast and see if really these people, they are using the same principle, and we're going to see that the Supreme Court is not inconsistent in the way it uses the Constitution. So, Richard Nixon, this is 1868, is it? 1868? 1968?
19. President Nixon.
Richard Nixon, sorry for that. So, Richard Nixon, this is Trump, 2024. We want to see how, as the Constitution changed. No, the Constitution has not changed. In 1968, we want to see how they are going to use the Constitution. And in 2024, we want to see how they are going to use the Constitution if the principle, if they follow consistency. So in 1968, we have events surrounding Richard Nixon. And they are going to rule that Richard Nixon does not have immunity with civil or criminal crimes. When we come to 2024, Trump is charged with the same civil and criminal crimes, but the same Supreme Court is going to rule that Trump is what? Is immune. And so, from these two cases, Justice Sonia Sotomayor is going to write, is going to dissent. To dissent is when you disagree with the rulings of the Supreme Court. And Justice Sonia, this is also another case which, I don't know if between Eldateria and Paminda who said that we should be following it. It is going to be decided this year. Don't know if we are following it. So Sonia Sotomayor is going to dissent. A dissent is a disagreement after the court makes a ruling. So when 2024, May 30th, they rule on all the 34 counts that Trump is immune, she's going to challenge that ruling, and she's going to bring this idea that in 1968, they're going to use the Constitution. She's not in the Supreme Court. In fact, she's born in 1954. They're going to use the Constitution, and they're going to rule against Richard Nixon that Richard Nixon is not immune. But they are going to use the same Constitution 2024 and rule that Trump is how? Is immune. So say this is an article. I'll give it later. I know if I tell you, you just leave me alone. So this is how she says that normally that article reads, normally Both decent include words respectively, but Miss Sotomayor Sonia signed off her writing with fear. So she's not going to end a decent with the word respectively. This is how, when you dissent, this is how you should end your dissent. But instead, she's going to end her dissent with fear for our democracy, I dissent. With fear of our democracy, I dissent. And she continues to write that immune. They just handed Donald Trump key to dictatorship. So she's going to say again that they have made Trump a king over a state. What do we know about kings? This is monarchical system of government. And in a monarchical system of government, what do we see? Dictatorship. This is what she's going to show us. So this is one of the institutions that still you see pushes for the not dictatorship, where I'm discussing this in relation to the king of the north rising to power. Get to the point. People, I hope you are getting. Are you getting where we are studying this? We began from the mid, we said mid-sized institutions. So we are looking at institutions that drive who? The seventh kingdom or the king of the north to power. So we can understand that history like that using the US Constitution. You see that there is no consistency. She's not in the movement, but she's able to use parables. She's an external prophet. She's able to use parables and show that there is what? Inconsistent. You are too quiet. I don't know why people are tired. People don't like history. So, in 2024, before we go to 2024, SECO needed a second witness for MAGA. So, Revelation 17. We will see that. I don't know if I'll be able to cover Revelation 17, but I have one class remaining. I'll be able to show that in Revelation 17 and 13 on Saturday, I hope. But for today, let's go with Isaiah 23. So let's turn to our Bibles, and if you have it, please open it. So, Isaiah chapter 23, verse 1, can someone read? Can we turn to our Bibles? You know, you get lost when I'll just explaining, you don't have a Bible. Isaiah 23, verse 1.
The burden of Tyre, only you to Turkey, for it is laid waste, so that there is no house, no entering in from the land of cheating. It is revealed to them.
Verse 3, someone else? Okay, you can read. There's no problem. Continue reading.
By great water, the seed of Hero, the harvest of the river is her revenue, and she is a mart of nations.
So, Isaiah chapter 23, this is Isaiah 23. We're dealing with Tyre. And Tyre, if you find it elsewhere, titled as Tyre, is the same thing. Tyrus is equal to Tyre. So, verse 3.
And the great waters, the seed of Sihor, the harvest of the river are ravens, and she is a mouth of nations.
So Tyre or Tyra, verse 3 in Tyre is equal to a map of nations. The definition, the simple definition of the word nation I can give, and I hope we will be looking at the definition of nation and state in relation to the sixth and the seventh kingdom. But the nation means people's way of life, culture, and what? Yes, get that. People's way of life, culture. Yes, sir.
So I'm not sure how what number of months you need and get yeah, all the other and then we can have the 1%. Some green which are really good. Then we try to make the they have some long time how we see the people in the time. The example that they have Manda, the inside of Jesus, which means according to the really good to plan. A failure to the nation, and really the time. There's no charge. State. They don't see the charge, the good work. And the data is a charge. It's just a communication for what? Understanding. No, not culture. Just communication for understanding. So in the world we have distance, we have bullying, we have hinting, we have athletes, okay? So it's good in your culture. And for this culture, take. Now we began asking on that. Why are we looking at culture? And use the state. So the states will be the name of governments, especially the right to the government, the part, the those are the states. But when it comes to culture, we have to accept that we told us yesterday, we told us culture is just an embodiment term for progeny, phobia, and bad behavior. So when you say matter, I think I agree with someone there who say matter is just around. Like here in Kenya, when people can have the government, they come out with a manifesto called and market just around to push that government. It's like this president called FDR, Franklin he came up with an idea called the Great Leap. And that Great Leap is sort of some damage done by World War II. So after 1945, we began to create something like the UN, World Bank, Universal Human Rights, etc. So that was called Great Leap. This is a roadmap. So for that, we came up with a roadmap. In this country, going behind the people. So we came up with a roadmap. Okay, let us make this country better. This country great again. It's through culture. This culture doesn't be nice things like our country has gone far away from our traditional environment. So let us go to culture, secondly, including a month worth of work. So from where I see, I think the peace should be, instead of putting one of the church there, should be culture, because it's very complex. the word church.
Yeah, I was to do that.
Do that.
Yeah, I was to do that. I put it in the language that you can understand.
Or a simple name.
Yeah, on a simple level. Yeah, there's no problem. There's no harm. So for the people online, SNM is reminding us when we define the beast as being MAGA and the new Republican Party or Trumpism, I used a simple word to make those who are within this room to understand what MAGA means, which is the earlier definition we had in the movement was the church. But in the current understanding of the Sunday Law message, instead of the church, we use the word culture. So I think I'll do it. So, culture. Which is the new line of religion. Thank you, Asinya. So where were we? Taya, Zamat, Zamato, nation. And I defined what a nation is. Yes? Did you get? What did I say? People's way of life, their culture, their practices. Yes. Verse Map of Nations. I'll explain that. Yes. So which verse have I indicated? Verse 8. Verse 8.
Who had taken this counsel against Tyre, a crowning city, with merchants of princes, with traffickers, and the honorable to earth.
Verse 11.
He stretched out
15.
his hand over the sea. He shook the kingdoms. The Lord had given a commandment against the merchants city to destroy the strongholds thereof.
Verse 13. 13 and 15.
Behold, the land of the Chaldeans, these people was not till the Assyrian founded it. For them that dwell in the wilderness, they set up the towers thereof, they raised up the palaces thereof, and he brought it to ruin. 15 says, and it shall come to pass in that day that Tyre shall be forgotten 70 years, according to the days of one king. After the end of the 70 years, shall Tyre sing as an harlot.
As an harlot. Where do we see the word harlot? Revelation 17. You see the word harlot in Revelation 17. Babylon, the mystery, Babylon. Verse, are you done with 15?
Yeah.
Verse 17, very important. It will define what Tyre is.
And it shall come to pass after the end of the 70 years that the Lord will visit Tyre, and she shall turn to her hire, and shall commit fornication with all the kingdoms of the world upon the face of the earth. So,
Tyre, 1 is a matter of nations. Verse 17, Tyre commits what? Fornication. Fornication is what?
Marriage.
Marriage, an unlawful marriage between who and who? It has said the kings of no, not the kings of Tyre, or the kingdoms of the world. So Tyre is going to be in a relationship with who? Kingdoms of the world. So when we have kingdom, we cannot have a kingdom without what? A king. You cannot separate a king and kingdom. This becomes what? Government, state, civil entity. So it is the culture we are speaking about. So Tyre, initially when I came into this movement, we used to study Isaiah. And the way we used to understand is that Tyre represented the papers. But here at the end of the world, it will not make that sense. It will not make sense. Taya is not the papers, but Taya is MAGA here at the end of the word. So has it given something to you? Is it making sense?
That is,
That is a map of nations. So map of nation, it is more than one entity. Map of nations. Nations here is in plural. And I've said that the definition of the word nation is people's way of life, their culture, their practices, their norms. This is what we refer to nations. So Taya is equal to MAGA, which is MAGA, which is the culture, plus states. Isaiah confirms that as. I was impressed when Elder Terry said that we should go back to the way we used to understand events, put correct symbols there. They will make sense. Taya will not be the papers in our dispensation.
Great.
Yes.
Last.
Oh, minutes left. Okay, thank you. Nations, people's way of life, culture, practices, norms. So the nation is different from the state. I'll do that clear when I'll be showing what the sixth kingdom is, what the seventh kingdom is. So maybe to mention the sixth kingdom, because still we're dealing with it. So nation is equal to culture, norms, practices, people's way of life, but state, this is political entity. So when we come with this history, where we have the rise of the seventh kingdom rising, what happens is the nation, this is the seventh kingdom, the nation is over the states. When the nation controls the state, it is very dangerous because it is the culture that is driving the state. But with the sixth kingdom, it is the states controlling the nation, the state or the republic. States stroke republic. You got it, that's all? Is it okay? We can do it in Q&A. So 2024, the glorious land is conquered. We mark the image of the beast is being set up. If you go to Daniel chapter 3, it will tell you that the image is set up, but it takes some time before they whistle and the people are required to do what? To bow down to that image. So we have image of the beast. We will have the mark of the beast at Exeter Point, where, and I said that in the morning that the mark of the beast people receive either on the hand or where? On the forehead. So far, no one has received the mark of the beast. It is at this point, and even we mark the conquering of the glorious land, but glorious, we will mark complete glorious land being conquered at Exeter, Weimar. So this is prophecies, a point and what? A period. The same will happen in this history where we mark close of probation. We know Michael stands up. Yes, we mark Michael stands up. But people in this dispensation will fall in until this Exeter point where but in the kingdom of Babylon, in fact that 8 PK, Ellen White says that the army of Cyrus was assigned to the Israelites in captivity, that their deliverance was what? 9. the army of Cyrus, if you go to Isaiah chapter 21, we don't have time to go and read it. It is going to tell you that Isaiah 21, verse 2, a grievous vision is declared unto me, the treacherous dealer treacherously, and the spoiler spoiled. Go up, O Elam, beseech, O Media, all the signs therefore have I made to cease. So, verse 7, and he saw a chariot with a couple of horsemen. The chariot with a couple of horsemen are the Media and Persians. Verse 9, going to repeat, and behold, there cometh a chariot of men with a couple of horsemen, and he answered and said, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. So, this is the point, the point where we mark Babylon. Fallen. Complete fall of the king of the north is at Exeter, Weimar. So, there's a point I wanted to make with the destruction of Babylon at Exeter, Weimar in relation to our dispensation. We still don't have visibility, but we can make conclusions from the study of Babylon, the study of Rome. They will point us to what our history will look like here at the end of the world. So here, a lot of information that is against power. Information, it is that we're going to have a lot of information in this dispensation, because we understand that we are in the dispensation of information warfare already. MAGA is divided. So I drew this slide and finish. Yeah. Sorry. This is our 2024. We are going MAGA. If MAGA is represented by this Trump advisor by the name of Peter Navarro. And dark MAGA is represented by Elon Musk. So the two, there's a slight difference. Deep MAGA, they see globalism as the enemy. So globalism, because of tariffs from Trump, already we have begun to see division between MAGA itself. We have deep MAGA, dark MAGA, represented by Peter Navarro and Elon Musk, the dark MAGA side. And the deep MAGA, the ideologies are deep. And these ideologies include the ideologies of Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon wants to make America great again through getting Trump to power. Trump has imposed tariffs, and these tariffs, they're going to affect the economy. But remember, when we speak about the economy is not built within that setting of the state of the United States alone. So they want, how do I call it? So they view globalism as an enemy to the US. But Elon Musk on the other side, we know it's a bad guy. When it comes to prophecy, we don't look at morality of what? These people, we look from a prophetic word, eye. So Elon Musk, they differ. In fact, the information warfare between Peter Navarro and Elon Musk, and so this, they view that globalism is good. Because if the economy is going to be affected, there will be problems. And so already we have begun to see tension between MAGA itself. Another point I wanted to make from Sotomayor's, yes, the last point I'm making, I'm afraid. This case. Wait, Bernard.
Globalism.
Yes, globalism. But this view that globalism is not that bad. They don't want to do anything to do with globalism. It is you, it is us and our properties and our things and ourselves. That's selfishness. This is what Steve Bannon wants. This is what Peter Navarro wants. But Elon Musk views globalism from a different perspective. So, point was I making? That's funny. Yeah, this is what he was saying. So, this is 2025. Please, this is not an increase of knowledge. This is not a formalization. Don't misquote me, please. I'm just showing events that the way they have begun to happen in this year. So this case began in October 7, 2024. We were told to keep on following. It will be decided in October 2025. We don't know what the ruling will be, but it is through that case we have the formalization, the hush money. Trump becomes how? Immune. This sheds some light to us on what the future looks like. We are not in darkness. Ellen White tells us that we are not in darkness, except we fear how the Lord has led us. And I end the class there. Yes. Yes. Sorry. That is why I put this intentionally. After understanding it, people should understand what religion, not that I didn't knew. I knew that we don't have religion, but I put it because we understand what the religion is. After getting to understand what religion is, so I said we will redefine what? Redefine religion. And that is what we have done. We have redefined religion. I don't have to change the title. It should be there so that whoever watches the sermon should keep on watching until you reach the definition of the word culture and religion. Yes.
Like, I think maybe nature, the one who them as the child state, the people that have it. The biggest problem
the culture of paganism, that's
So even that part is true, fellowship is something, you need to see that whether that is something.
It makes sense. We will discuss that more. Please write it down. I also benefit when people give answers. I also benefit from the answers we
The
give.
last one. On the marker. The meaning that it mark.
This one. Yes,
To the great, for the part. This question will be put before the area and things like that. So that you guys can- Yeah. We kind of think this is like. Whether that is not, can cause more problems. What is the good at anything? Having energy from the time of, for example, if matter means that. Someone has to come down to content this. Or other meanings of matter, if you be working with something like that, and therefore can bring up something like. Matter. Different things.
I get what you are saying. So let me tell you what it means or what you should understand. So Elder Terry, it's, we ran out of time. I think we should answer in the Q&A. Yes, we should answer that question. I'll show you what it means. There's no controversy between what I've written there and what she defines. All that she has defined in the 3 sections, back to conservatism, Catholic integralism, Christian nationalists, you can see it in that roadmap of ideologies. Please write the questions down. We discuss in the Q&A. Yeah, God. We want to thank you for guiding us, teaching us how events look like. We're not in darkness. We are not children of the dark who cannot understand what prophecy at the end of the world looks like. Ask for your continual guidance. We ask for more clarity. We have issues which we need to understand that pertain to our salvation. Please help us to be faithful till the end. May none get tired and get off the road. We ask for continual support and strength of the Holy Spirit and studying these truths more and more for clarity. We ask that you continue guiding us throughout the remaining hours of the day and bless us more and more. We ask in Jesus' name.